So welcome to the Energy Healing Lifestyle Journal Self-Care Challenge. My name is Robin Knott, and I'm your host of the channel and the founder of the energyhealingschool.com. So again, in this video, I'm going to walk you through my journaling process and share some real-life examples. So how I get ready to do the journaling, get my mindset, get my focus on it, allowing myself to just be with myself, right? It is an energy healing lifestyle, meaning it's a lifestyle. It's something we're setting the intention. We're doing it every day. We're checking in with ourselves every day. Self-care is an acronym. So today we focus on the letter E for emotions. And why emotions? They are so important for empaths, right? And in general, anyway. Energy. Excuse me, what do they call emotions? Energy and motion, right? So it's combining those together. So emotions, energy and motion. Sacral Chakra Energy, because the Sacral Chakra governs our emotions. So then write out the journal prompt of the day if you're following along with me. Today's journal prompt is, as an empath. I like this start because it really just focuses on not to single us out or to label us, but to honor who we are, to honor how we are, right? And to really check in with that part of us, to not deny that it's there, to not toss it aside, but to see how it affects our day-to-day, how it affects our energy, and how we're managing that energy, right? So again, as an empath, how do you feel when you focus on you? So you write down the journal prompt, you ask yourself the question, and you allow yourself to answer. Just sit for a minute, quietly just listening to see what pops up. Just allow whatever to come up, come up. Again, sometimes, if you've been following along, I'll mention sometimes our to-do list might be first on our mind. Sometimes it's just the mind clearing the fog, and sometimes it's an effort to avoid the question. We don't resist it, we don't fight it, we just allow it. And what else? And if I need to, if my mind wants to keep veering off in other directions, I can ask myself the question again, like, okay, well, that's okay, but how do you feel when you focus on you? So one of those patterns that we're talking about breaking in the upcoming Be You challenge is avoidance patterns. So this really hit for me. 5 examples. Focusing on myself. I didn't used to do that very well. And the things that came up, some of those emotions. Remember, emotions, feelings are one word. So you think of like sad, happy. I'm going to share some of the ones for this question, which was uncomfortable, selfish, egotistical, confused, unsure. Like, what is mine? Is it mine? Because there was a time I couldn't tell the difference. I didn't even know I was absorbing other energy around me. I didn't know I was really feeling other people's emotions. I just assumed it was all mine because I was feeling it, right? Owned all of them. Excuse me. So once I started to realize that there was a difference, then it was learning what was actually mine and what wasn't. But it was still uncomfortable. And why? Why is that, right? That's my big word. Why? Why was that uncomfortable? What was I unsure about? So not only trying to decipher what's mine and what isn't, but then asking myself that why do you feel this way? How do I not feel this way? And then again, just trying to avoid some of that, because what do we often hear? You're too sensitive, right? Or you get shamed for feeling the way you do. Why are you feeling that way? Why are you being that way? Because people aren't comfortable around it, right? People don't want to deal with other people's emotions. So oftentimes we feel that overwhelm, anxiety, or we shut down and get depressed and we isolate. So knowing that part about ourselves, like knowing it could be overwhelming, having that fear of rejection, being shamed or blamed, things would be fine if you didn't, right, catch the blame of those things. Other people's denials, in a sense, Like you pick up on what other people are feeling, but trying to have a conversation about it or how you feel about the situation could just turn really icky, right? Communication may not be a very strong point, especially in the beginning phases of really learning yourself and what is yours and what isn't, and then how to communicate your own stuff to other people. But then that's a challenge as well, because learning what's yours is one step. Then we have a tendency to want to communicate the others. So we learn ours. Let's say we have an idea now. Okay, this is mine and this is yours. But instead of just focusing on mine, I want to tell you about yours. You've done that too, right? So other people don't want to hear that oftentimes. And it's really not our place to push it. So trying to not only recognize what's mine and what isn't, but then putting the focus on mine. That takes accountability though too. That's owning our stuff, which can feel uncomfortable because we get confused with owning our stuff with blame, shame, and guilt. And it doesn't have to be the same. Even if we flub up, even if we make mistakes, owning it, taking accountability does not have to include blame, shame, or guilt. Before I knew that, though, when I assumed it did, when I assumed that once you own something, you're accountable for it, that's exactly what it meant, right? Shame, blame, guilt had to come with it because that's kind of what you're taught, isn't it? When you're too sensitive and you're overreacting and blah, 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 this is when the people are projecting their stuff on you, you get that feeling of blame, shame, and guilt. So then there's this idea that anytime you make a mistake, you have to be blamed, shamed, and guilted for it. There's a lot of mixed messages in a lot of those things, but doing this journaling process, pulling it out, slapping it down on this paper, really getting a look at it and separate these pieces and really get to see how they're not the same thing, breaking those patterns, learning something different, accepting something different, applying and living something different, right? Allowing these things to be forgiven, to release them, to heal them, allows us to look at our own stuff, be accountable without blame, shame, and guilt. So we can more easily, I'm not saying it's easy, but more easily make changes for ourselves. I'm going to address the one of selfishness as well. So how many times do you feel guilty for focusing on you, for addressing your own emotions, for communicating your own emotions, especially if or when it's not well received by someone else? Excuse me. Bless you. So avoidance, there are reasons why we avoid, right? Not saying they are healthy that are understandable, but again, it's a pattern that we want to break, right? We don't want to avoid ourselves. We don't want to avoid identifying and feeling our emotions. We don't want to avoid separating what we feel from who we are, because there's a difference. And we talk about internalizing emotions when it comes to solar plexus chakra and our self-image too, right? Meeting ourselves with love and compassion. So separating those things, how I feel is not who I am. What I do is not who I am. Not always the same thing. How does that feel for you? Let me know in the comments what came up for you with this journal prompt. And let me read it one more time. As an empath, how do you feel when you focus on you? Do you focus on you? That's always another question, right? Do you focus on you, or do you continue to focus away from you with the physical eyes, right? We always look outside of self. Or are you noticing looking within more? And how does it feel to do that? That was very foreign at one time, right? It was very foreign to look into self. So where are you at with that? I'd love to hear. So sacral chakra energy, let me review some of those symptoms when it's wonky. Excuse me. We may notice changes in our reproductive organs, changes or difficulties, urinary tract, bladder, neck bladder infections, low back pain. You may feel insecure, that blame, shame, guilt, have a need to control. Things feel overwhelming and chaotic. Our humanness wants to try to control situations to not feel that sense of chaos, right? Have low creativity, depression, anxiety, or just really erratic emotions. Feeling up and down and up and down. You know, oftentimes people are like, I think I'm bipolar because there's this up and down and up and down and up and down. Sometimes it's just wonky energy, being ungrounded, unresolved energetic blocks. Let's say it that way. Not feeling comfortable with who you are, not feeling grounded within your body, not feeling connected to the source of unconditional love. There can be a lot of reasons why our emotions get erratic, right? And go up and down and all around. So some ways that we can support the energy in our sacral chakra. The solfeggio frequency that resonates with the sacral chakra is 417 hertz. We can also wear the color orange. I'm not wearing my orange today. The elemental healing for the sacral chakra is water. So crying is very healing, right? I know we don't always love to cry. However, it is very cleansing. So a great release. Showers, baths, rivers, lakes, any bodies of water, drinking clean water, right? Helps clean and clear our energy as well. So as always, I invite you to hop on this Zoom and journal with me live. There is a link in the description if you would like to schedule. It's linked to Zoom. So when you schedule on, you'll get the Zoom link so that we can hop on here together. It doesn't cost anything. Also, if you go to you have to put the in there, theenergyhealingschool.com. Like a big one word, right? theenergyhealingschool.com. You will see some courses that are available. So if you want to do the 7-day chakra healing challenge, that's available to you. There is the Empathic Healers Masterclass, a step-by-step guide to set boundaries and protect your energy. And then I have in pre-launch mode, so it's not all done yet. It's, again, in pre-launch, the 5-day BU challenge to break these patterns of codependency. They are codependency patterns. Don't let the word throw you again. It's just a way to describe them. But they're very common. It doesn't mean that you are codependent, right? We're not internalizing and owning this stuff. We're just describing what it is so that we can call it out and then break the stuff up and release ourselves from it. That's all. But if you use the code PRELAUNCH, you can have it at half off. So it's not expensive anyways, but it still get half off on top of that. So come join me on that as well. As always, take good care of you. Have a wonderful day, evening, whatever time in the world it is for you, and I will see you tomorrow. So much love, guys. Bye.